Battlefield 4. Now, what do we know about Battlefield 4? Well, not very much at the moment, but yesterday some details were apparently leaked. And we're going to go through these, discuss them, talk about them. Take everything you hear in this video with a pinch of salt, because they could all just be made up, it could just be a big rumour, and it could all be incorrect. But the details that we've got today, they seem legit to me, okay? They seem legit in the sense that they make sense to me, and there's nothing too overboard, nothing whoa crazy going on. So we're going to talk about these leaked details. The video that you're seeing is M416 heavy barrel, foregrip, ultimate tryhard mode. It was a good game. There's plenty of peeking and positioning techniques that I'm doing, and I end up with a pretty good score. So I thought I would post it, just some mild entertainment in the background there. Maybe you'll learn something, maybe you won't, but I'm going to leave that in the background whilst I talk about these Battlefield 4 details that we've got. So what's the source of these details? Well, apparently they were leaked from EA China, and by someone that works there, and then translated by NeoGAF. So it's sketchy. We don't know exactly where it came from, but that's the story. So it starts out with this: Battlefield 4 will be out in October 2013, specifically October 23rd. Now that is a Wednesday, and as far as I know, most game titles are released in the US on a Wednesday. So that would make sense. In the UK or in Europe, it's always on a Friday. So October 23rd release date for the US, October 25th for the UK and Europe, I guess, okay? That ties in with the release window that they announced when the Battlefield 4 announcement was leaked. So yeah, that sort of makes sense. October next year. It's probably been in development for a year, maybe a year and a half, something like that. Maybe they're just starting development now, I don't know. But yeah, October next year, that's when these details are saying Battlefield 4 will be released. And we've got a long list of information, so let's go through it and talk about it. The first note is that it's going to be on next generation consoles. That makes perfect sense to me. I mentioned this in a video, I think it was actually when the Battlefield 4 leak was announced, or when it got leaked. That makes sense. That Battlefield 4 would be a release title for the next-gen consoles, and I still think that's going to be the case. So there's more rumours going around about that at the moment. It makes sense. Battlefield would be a massive game, a massive release title on the next-gen consoles. Whether they'll be out in October, I don't know. If they're not out by Christmas next year, I would say they'll probably be out by like March, Easter time. So having Battlefield as a release game would be massive for DICE. And to hazard a guess, I'm going to say that the next Modern Warfare game, so Modern Warfare 4 or whatever they choose to call it, will be on the next gen consoles, and that will also be a launch title. So you're going to see Battlefield and COD go head to head there, so that's going to be pretty interesting on the next gen consoles. Interestingly enough though, it says that it's also going to be on PC, PS3 and Xbox 360. So obviously it's going to be on PC, that's a no-brainer, but it's going to be on the 360, the PS3 and the next gen consoles. Okay, that's interesting. So apparently the PC, PS4 and Xbox 720, or whatever they're going to be called, they're all going to support 64 players. So the console guys that complain they only get 24 players, you're going to see what 64 player Battlefield is like, and it's bloody mental. And I'm happy that the console guys will get to experience some of that with Battlefield 4, if these rumours are true. But the 360 and PS3, I presume they'll have less players, toned down graphics, and they're going to run at like 30 FPS, sub 30 FPS, whereas the PS4 and the Xbox 720 will obviously run at 60 FPS, so it'll be much smoother, better graphics, better gameplay experience altogether. Of course, the PC, you're not really FPS limited, so we don't really need to talk about that. The commander system is apparently going to make a comeback. So if you're new to Battlefield games, or you just started playing from like Bad Company, or you jumped in at Battlefield 3, you probably don't know what the commander system is. In Battlefield 2, one player on each team could be a commander. So they had like a top-down real-time strategy view of the game. And if you were in the commander seat, you could do things like satellite scans, and with that you could drop artillery to blow things up. You could send out UAVs to spot enemies. You could also drop supply crates, and those would heal players and vehicles, give them ammunition, that sort of thing. You could also drop vehicles, issue orders, like you could tell a certain squad to move to the C flag, and then another squad could go and defend the MCOM, stuff like that. And a lot of people were upset that Battlefield 3 didn't have a commander mode, because DICE always said that Battlefield 3 was a spiritual successor to Battlefield 2. Like Bad Company and Bad Company 2 were separate games, and BF3 was always the next Battlefield game. So I think a lot of PC players especially were upset that it didn't have that feature in, but apparently that's coming back for Battlefield 4, which is cool. Your profile can also be linked with other devices like iPads. So I'm guessing that you could get like a Battlelog Battlefield 4 app, and you could see all your stats on there, maybe have a bit of interaction. Maybe you could get some in-game items if you've got the Battlefield 4 app on your iPad, something like that. Auto login, you need a internet connection to play the game, and it's got cloud saving data. So a lot of games are going this way, like you have to be connected to the internet to play them. This like protects against piracy and all sorts of crap, but it's also good for cloud data. So say for example you've been playing on your PC for 6 months, but then you get an upgrade, or you have to move house and build another PC, whatever, or you log on to a different Xbox. If the game's got cloud data, when you log on with your account, like your Xbox account or your Origin account, all your settings, like your graphics settings and your controls, will be saved in the cloud, so you won't have to set everything up again. So that's just that. It's a nice feature to have in the game. Put it that way. Okay, now the next one I'm not sure about, because I don't think DICE would do this to us. Don't do this to us, DICE. And it says it's an easier to pick up game, and this is to take care of players who are coming from COD. I'm not sure if something has been lost in translation there, but I think that note is saying that they're making the game more like COD. I don't believe that's going to be the case, because COD's COD and Battlefield is Battlefield. They're two separate games. I think they're both good games, but they're completely different, okay? You can like COD and you can like Battlefield at the same time. That's fine. One day you might fancy apple pie with custard. The next day you might fancy apple pie with ice cream, right? Just because they're seen as competitors doesn't mean one has to be bad and one has to be good. I think they're both good games in their own respects. But unless EA are holding a gun to DICE's head and saying, you guys have to make this game more like COD, I don't believe this. DICE make Battlefield games. They don't copy COD. They make their own game. Okay, COD's all about tight maps and tight gunplay and that sort of thing. Battlefield's about large-scale warfare, mentalness, each into their own. Okay, they're different games, and I don't think DICE would do that. I don't think they'd dumb the game down just to get COD players to come across. I think a lot of COD players probably have come across to Battlefield 3 anyways. From what I've seen on the internet anyways, I know quite a few people that have played COD and always said Battlefield's bad, but then they've tried Battlefield 3 and they've really liked it. So I really hope that Battlefield just keep doing Battlefield and don't try and make a different game just for being just for the sake of competition or competing with COD. So yeah, take that one especially with a pinch of salt, because I don't believe that. Support for body and voice control for the commander system. So obviously the next Xbox or the next PlayStation, they're going to have like motion controls. Kinect will be a feature of the next Xbox, I presume. So you're going to be able to use that with the commander mode. So instead of like moving your analog stick and putting it like in a certain area of the map, you could say artillery strike at flag D, and it would just do an artillery strike. Or you could, like, I don't know, like do like a go 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 movement with your hands, and the Kinect would pick that up and tell a squad to move out or something. I would hope that if they do that sort of thing, it would translate across to the PC as well, because you can use the Kinect on PC, and of course you've got a microphone on PC, so you can issue orders via your microphone. Maybe talk to individual squads. That'd be pretty cool when you're playing as the commander. I'm not really a big fan of motion control and voice control, but some people are, and apparently that's going to be integrated there. We've got better Battlelog integration and also better stats reporting. Me personally, I'm okay with the way Battlelog is at the moment. I think it gives me all the statistics I could ever want, but I know there is an add-on called Better Battlelog, I think, and that adds all like way more stats, like hit to kill ratios, percentages, all the stats you could ever want. Like I said, Battlelog does a good enough job for me, but I know there are some people who would really like to get into the nitty-gritty of their game and analyse other players and use the stats to see how they can get better as a player. So apparently Battlelog is just going to get completely fleshed out and overhauled. Okay. Now the next one is a good one. I'm sure that it's something that 100% of people would probably want to see in the next Battlefield game, and that is support for video playback and sharing. If Battlefield 4 doesn't have a battle recorder or a spectate mode or something along those lines, it's gonna fail. Okay, it needs to have it. Yeah, I don't like comparing Battlefield with other games, but games like Halo 4 and Black Ops 2 and pretty much every Modern Warfare game have very good recording software. So anyone can record a game and upload it to YouTube, right? Battlefield 3 didn't have that, and it missed out. There was a feature that Battlefield 2 had, which was brilliant, but they dropped it for Battlefield 3. And Battlefield 4 needs to have it, and I think, or I hope that DICE have realised now that YouTube videos and any media site where user created content is being uploaded, and user created content that's good, that drives sales of the game. It's essentially free publicity for DICE. Like, let's look at the Renzook video, for example. I mean, I don't know the exact number to hand, but I think that's got like 8 million views or something, and I'm sure that video alone has sold many copies of Battlefield 3, because you can't really do that in any other game. Like, fly around in a jet, jump out of the jet, fire an RPG at the guy that was shooting you, blow his jet up, and then get back into your jet and fly off. I mean, when people saw that and they didn't play Battlefield 3, they probably went, I want to get that game, I want to do that. And any video like that that's got a lot of hits on YouTube that shows how awesome Battlefield 3 is, because it is a very fun game, it's a good game, there's no doubt about it. It drives sales of the game. But the problem is, with Battlefield 3, you need recording equipment, you need a good PC, you need to set it all up, and it's just a pain. So not everyone can do it, but if they implement a recording system into the game that saves all the data and you can play it back, that makes it a whole different ball game. If they're like on the consoles, you could play a game and then upload it straight from your console to YouTube, for example. Hey, that'd be a great feature for console players, because they wouldn't have to go out and buy like a PVR or a capture card. The guys with average PCs wouldn't have to play the game at 20 FPS because they're recording with fraps. It would be brilliant, and having those tools, those battle recorder tools, would mean that we could create more awesome content, more machinima videos with stories and action shots, videos like, I mean, if you look at Robert Steinman, Robert Stoneman, sorry, I think his name is. He did that epic Battlefield 3 movie, 1, and he's also done one recently called Moments. So I strongly advise you to go and check those out if you haven't seen them. I'm sure you have, because I have crap tons of views. But if he can do that without a battle recorder, just think about what he could do with a battle recorder, okay? Just thinking about that just blows my mind. And like, I've got plenty of ideas as well, stuff that I can't do in Battlefield 3 because it doesn't have a battle recorder. It's just very hard to set stuff up like that. But if we had a battle recorder, it would be a piece of cake, and the amount of amazing content that we'd see on YouTube would be incredible. I'm really looking forward to it. Also, spectate function would be really great for competitive gaming, and I think Battlefield 4 could be a very good competitive game if DICE seriously consider supporting it. I think they've said in the past that they don't care about esports, but a lot of people do, and there's a big market there. Look at Dota 2, look at StarCraft, look at League of Legends. We need a #1 FPS competitive game. Maybe Battlefield 4 is going to be that. Who knows? And people will say, well, Battlefield has never been about competitive gaming. It's just been about 64-player servers, having fun, blowing stuff up and enjoying yourself. And that's fair enough, but there's nothing wrong with giving players more choice. Why not have a competitive game mode that's just like a separate section of Battlelog? So you've got Battlefield 4 normal, Battlefield 4 competitive. And in the competitive rule set, you could have 5v5 infantry, you could have mod tools, you could have specific server settings, so people could come up with a global rule set for competitive Battlefield 4. At the moment, the server options are very limited, and that's a problem. But if you just had a separate version of the game that was also included with Battlefield 4, why not? It gives people more choice. People can dive in, dive out. If they like it, they can stay there. If they don't like it, they could play both. It doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with choice. What's next? Right, okay. So we've got a gem store for DLC and other stuff like that. A gem store, not entirely sure what that means. I think the translation's off there, but it's probably going to be like a little store where you can browse online or in Xbox Live or PSN and pick, like, customize your character, like buy a little hat for him or a bow tie and then use that in game. I don't know, something like that. 3 factions, Russia, US and China. So China are going to make a comeback. They were in Battlefield 2. Next is quite an interesting one, and it's the fact that you're going to be able to deploy female soldiers. So there's no female soldiers in Battlefield 3. Female soldiers aren't really represented at all in video games. Just trying to think of some. I mean, it's bad because video games are horribly sexist, and in most video games, women are always portrayed as weak. Like, you have to like guide a girl through a level or go and save a girl from, like, Ganon's kidnap Zelda, Princess Zelda, or Bowser's like snuck off with Peach and Mario has to go and get her back, or like in Resident Evil, when you're playing Resident Evil 4, I think it is, you're playing as Leon and you have to like go and save the president's daughter and she's all like helpless. So women aren't portrayed very well or very strong in video games, at least. But I think DICE have always been okay with that sort of thing, I guess. I mean, if you look at like Mirror's Edge, the lead character in that is a girl. That's who you play as. You play as Faith, and she's a strong female. She can like free run like crazy. She can beat men up and shoot people. And it looks like DICE are going to be introducing female soldiers in Battlefield 4. So maybe you're going to be able to play as them. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just be in the single player campaign. Who knows? But either way, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be happy with that. Uses the Frostbite 2 engine, but apparently Battlefield 3 only uses 30 to 40% of the potential of the Frostbite 2 engine, whereas Battlefield 4 will apparently use 80%. So hopefully we're going to see a lot more random destructibility rather than scripted stuff that we see a lot of in Battlefield 3. I think the destruction in BF3 is good, but I think sometimes it does appear a bit static, and I wish it could be more dynamic. But I do think part of the reason it is dynamic is because the lack of power that's coming from the Xbox 360 and the PS3. If DICE could do whatever they wanted and Battlefield was just on the PC, then you could probably have like completely dynamic destruction in the game. But you know, Battlefield's a multi-platform game now, and they need to think about that. So having platform-specific destruction would be a lot of work, I reckon. But yeah, apparently it's going to use 80% of the Frostbite 2 engine, so I'm going to imagine it's going to look absolutely gorgeous and play really well, and just overall be a better experience. apparently there's a demo video internally within EA doing the rounds, and it's matching the quality of Battlefield 3 already, so they've got a year to improve on that. Like alpha videos or early footage of games that are being developed are released in game studios. People can look at them and they can send them to producers, and so they can see what's going on, that sort of thing. So that's probably true. And also we're going to have a modern story background, so we're not going to the future or the past. It's going to be set in modern day, probably 2014, 2015, I don't know. And there we have it. That was a long list, and I think we've got some credible stuff there. I reckon one or two of those points probably aren't legit, but most of it seems to make sense to me, and I hope most of it's true as well, because it sounds pretty good. I mean, if those features are in the game, then we're hearing good things already. So yeah, that's good, and I'm happy. What do you guys think about those? If you want to check out the description, if I can link to external sites, I'll link to the news articles where I saw this information, so you guys can check it out and see that I'm not just making this all up. That would be embarrassing. Do you think these are good points, bad points? Do you think they're completely made up? Is it all BS? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Moving on and sort of wrapping things up, I've got a few more topics to talk about. Gamer of the Week, haven't done this for a while, but I'm going to give it to beerculesthegreat. This guy does some Battlefield 3 content, Medal of Honor, Skyrim, all sorts of stuff. He's got a good commentating style. Go and check him out. Gaming news, Halo 4 is out like tomorrow. It's been pre-ordered. I cannot wait to get my hands on it, and I'm going to be bringing you guys some Halo 4 videos. I'm an absolute Halo nerd. I love the Halo games, so really looking forward to that. Black Ops 2 is out pretty soon as well. Going to get that, try it out, see what I think, post some videos. I really want to play Assassin's Creed 3 and Dishonored, but I just haven't had time. I'm sure I will get into those eventually, but it's just so busy at this time of year. Also, the Wii U is out on November the 18th in North America and November the 30th in Europe. And you guys getting it? Are you looking forward to it? Do you think it's going to be a fail? Do you think it's going to be good? Let me know. Also, I'm streaming way more now over on Twitch. So if you want to go and check me out, twitch.tv/jackfrags, you can follow me on there. I'm also streaming on YouTube more as well. I'm doing CSGO, Battlefield 3, DayZ, Dota 2, PlanetSide 2, all sorts of stuff. Go, subscribe, follow me on Twitch. Good game. See you at LAN. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Leave me a rating if you did. Subscribe if you like this sort of stuff, and I will see you in the next one.